This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Denver West. We are here at TAB, the Alternative Board. Since 2005, they have been helping you stay ahead in a rapidly changing world as you experience the power of the board and the power of peer community. I'm here with Bob Dodge. Thanks so much for joining us here today. Let's start off a little bit about yourself. I mean, quite honestly, over a quarter of a century, you've helped all types of businesses, be it a small business, a startup, Fortune 500 companies, not only here in the United States, but even abroad. Share with me why you felt this was a pretty good fit for you, becoming part and providing this for the public.
Thank you, Gary. It's been 30 years that I've been helping other companies, both in Colorado and United States and abroad. I'm wired to try to help people, and I'm also wired to try to help fix and make things right, which oftentimes across is my way. So this is actually a good fit that after consulting for 15 years, I'm not the answer man anymore. I'm really facilitating people learning from each other by asking them questions. And so I tell people I have 3 rules for a business owner. You need to do what you love to do. You need to do what you're better at than anyone else, and what your company or your market needs. And I'm doing those 3 things, so life couldn't get any better for me.
That is great. It'd be an understatement to say that 2020 has been a challenge for small businesses, every type of business out there. The services that TAB provides and has for 30 plus years, I mean, these services are vital anytime. Why more so probably today than ever before?
You're right. And people need us because otherwise they'd be alone at the top of their business with no one to talk to. You can't often share things with your partner, your spouse, your lawyer, with your accountant. And so people like to get ideas from people who don't think the way they do. Otherwise, they'll always just keep doing what they'll do and what they have. This year's been different because no one's gone through this before. So it's kind of nice to talk to other people to say, how do I apply for a PPP loan? How do I apply for forgiveness? What do I do about having people work from home? So more than ever, people need us now.
Corporations for centuries have relied on a board. Organizations, a board of directors. Share with us what is a board and how people actually benefit and organizations benefit that maybe small businesses don't even realize that that component is something that is very vital.
The bigger corporations have boards that they pay, and there is a fiduciary responsibility to the stockholders in a big corporate board. And our company was founded because small businesses don't have that luxury.
Sure.
So the idea of bringing in people who have disparaging points of view and experiences just opens people's eyes to be exposed to things that they wouldn't have thought about. So either you have answered my question based on your own business and your experience, or you brought something to the table today that you're concerned with that I never even thought about.
Right.
So it's very helpful to have people who don't think the way you do, who don't see the things the way you see them, and who've experienced different things, just so that you can open up your mind.
That is interesting. I mean, I know for myself as a business owner, I tell my wife it's lonely at the top because of the fact that I don't have anybody to bounce those things off of. Many times I would imagine business owners feel like they're an island out there. I mean, they're afraid to discuss these type of things with their own staff. Is it enjoyable for you to see them get access to that board and then go, wow, this is very powerful?
It's not only somewhat financially rewarding. I could make money doing something else, but it's so rewarding to me emotionally to see them take advantage and benefit from it. In fact, I spoke with a gentleman last week who's been with me for 10 years. And he's the analytical type, the engineer, the accountant who loves to analyze, but don't make me talk to people.
No.
And when he first started, he shared with us going on a trip with his son, and basically he ran away from all of the people just to go exercise and get away. About 4 or 5 years ago, he shared with us the highlight of his month was being in a van running a relay race with other people from Golden to Vail. And when I spoke with him last week, he reminded me of that. And he said, Bob, I told you 7 or 8 years ago I didn't have any friends in Colorado. And you've helped me come out of my shell.
That's awesome.
And so I get choked up when I see that stuff.
That is so cool. I mean, not only directly, but indirectly, that he didn't even realize that was going to help him in the long run.
No.
Let's jump into some of the services here that actually TAP provides for businesses out there. The CEO Advisory Board. This takes place on a monthly basis. Tell me what happens. I mean, what goes on there and who sits on that board?
There might be 6, 7. We limit it to no more than 10. I limit mine to 7 business owners who don't compete with one another. And we're very selective. Not everyone's a good fit for us, nor are we a good fit for anyone else.
Okay.
But the way the board meetings work is typically we meet in the location of one of the members, other than now, which we're doing virtually.
Sure.
And there are 2 main sections. The first is a member update. We call our customers members because they're members of a board.
Sure.
And they've built a trusted relationship with one another under a non-disclosure. They share with one another, how did the last month go? Anecdotally, with key accomplishments, challenges, opportunities. What did I do for pleasure that I don't get to do if I'm working too hard? And with key metrics, key performance indicators that we develop with our members, both trailing and leading indicators, both personal and business. And they know that when they give their update, they're going to be asked, last month you said you were going to get this done. How did you come out on that? And then the second major part of the meeting is we give every member an opportunity to put a topic on the table. I need help from you all today with this. It might be a difficult partner. It might be a cash flow issue. It might be we're thinking of changing our software. But I need your perspectives. And it could either be, I don't know where to start, or it could be, here's my plan. I want you all to validate it or shoot holes in it.
That is amazing. I mean, not only are you bouncing your idea or your issues and challenges with a group, but these are accomplished business leaders. I mean, they've already gone through a lot of things that they can help you with. I imagine the combined experience on one board is pretty powerful. Is this type of thing something that you feel the small business owner eventually realizes how much power is here, and he can talk to these people because they have his best interests at heart?
Well, they do. If they were talking with their accountant or their accountant or lawyer is being paid by that person,
Exactly.
so they're not going to tell them the truth. Whereas being in a room with people who are going to share not only what they've seen, but they have an unbiased filter for giving that feedback. And not all of our members are broken. I've got one member who won the small business in the energy sector for the country last year by the Department of Energy. It was also written up by the Denver Business Journal as the Women-Owned Business of the Year in Denver. So they all have pedigrees, so to speak.
Sure.
And that's where the power is. I don't have a product. I don't have a widget to sell. My offer is only as good as the people around the table. So the better people I can bring into the group, the more value they get from one another.
Speaking of bringing people around the group, I mean, thank goodness now in 2020, we can do a lot of this virtually. We can utilize technology. Tell me about the virtual board. Is that something that is being utilized a little bit more now?
Yes. In fact, it came up just before COVID.
Wow.
That has come in very conveniently. That one of my board, well, actually right now this week, all of my boards are virtual, but someone who lives remotely can't always drive to that location. And so they'd like to participate, and they're getting used to, particularly those that know each other really well, to being just as candid and just as efficient with their time on a virtual meeting space as being in the room together.
So we're talking about online, a secure meeting room. I mean, what I think is great is the fact that it kind of stops the small business owner or any business owner once a month to take a step back, take a look at the big picture. I mean, we jump right in, our nose to the grindstone, if you will. We don't come up for 6 to 8 months sometimes. I think it's important for them to look at their business as a whole and also set some goals and realize what goals they're not hitting. Is that something that you see happen?
Yes. In fact, this is the time of year when we're working on our plans for the next year. And so we're taking bite-sized pieces to review those critical success factors with our board and then our strategies and our goals so that the board can be supportive next year, but also holding us accountable. And I like to use the analogy of soccer. The little kids run to where the ball just was, magnet ball, and when they get to be about 12 or 13, they kind of look up and say, wow, if I'd run this way, I'd be open for someone to pass the ball to me that I can push the ball upfield. So a lot of business owners are so busy counting boxes or doing whatever that they don't have an opportunity to pick up their heads and think about, where should we be going?
That is interesting. For the owners out there that want to take it up a level, even beyond the board that takes place on a monthly situation, those that want to actually get some one-on-one strategic coaching. Tell me a little bit about that and what takes place there.
With every membership in the alternative board, they're entitled to at least an hour of private coaching.
Okay.
So the number one reason is to make sure that they get the most out of their board meetings, to prepare them to have a topic in the meeting, but then also to debrief on, you committed to do this, how are we going to get that done? But then secondly, to move their business to where it needs to be, to enable them to reach not only their business objectives, but their personal objectives. So oftentimes we'll start out with someone who doesn't get a day off. So how are we going to do some things to take what's off your plate so that you can go hunting or take that partner out for dinner? So it's the time just for them to use their coach as they need it. In addition, we have some offerings that are either a nice complement to being on a board or an alternative, an offering to go in and work with a company and their management team to take them through some of these planning processes to build more of a teamwork effort, management development, leadership development, which is something that we do in addition to having the board offering.
Obviously helping companies, something near and dear to your heart. Like you said, if someone out there is thinking about it, maybe they're not sure if this is something that's right for them, that 15-minute sit down with you, is that risk-free for them? Is that something they can pretty much learn from and decide if it's going to be a good fit for them or not?
It is. It's mutually beneficial because they might learn something about a new tool or a new process or a new concept or a new organization. I may introduce them to someone that could help them. Maybe they'll know someone that they should introduce me to, and they shouldn't try to play diagnostician. I just love to meet people. We love to help. So it is risk-free. I don't bring a gun to the meetings. I'm just going to talk.
So they can basically find themselves a dedicated coach within your network that is focused for them, helping them implement some of those ideas maybe that were found in the boardroom, and not only that, but maybe have some questions for the board itself. Be it the boardroom or a coach like that, accountability has to be pretty high. And I know for a small business owner, I have some great goals, great things, but then 3 months later, nobody but my wife to really hold me accountable. Is the accountability factor something that really kind of is a cornerstone for the success of some of these companies?
It is. Oftentimes when I have a visitor visit a board, I give the board members an opportunity to share with that visitor what they're getting from the board, and accountability is always something that they measure.
Really?
And it's something they value. And I had one board that a few years back said, we don't want to meet just once a month. We want to meet every other week. I didn't participate. They met by themselves just for an hour to check in and see, how are you coming on that? Because they all valued accountability so much.
Being able to stop at least once a month, hear some input, gain a perspective that you couldn't possibly do by yourself. This has to eventually affect the bottom line of any company. I can't imagine it not. For a company out there that really wants to take it to the next level, transform their business. Tell me about the Strat Pro. What is that program and what takes place there?
It's basically the same curriculum, if you will, that our members go through, of forming the team, understanding their strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats, understanding their culture, building their business vision, and enabling some delegation of responsibilities and holding people accountable to execute that plan in much the same way the board would. It's just a dedicated way to say to the business owner, I don't want to just impact you, I want to impact your management team. So we'll take the next level of your company, and it's the same person who facilitates their board meetings from a continuity standpoint that comes in and helps them to put these things together and implement them. So it's not just building the strategy, it's implementing.
Implementing as well. Like we said before, I mean, board of directors, that's been around for centuries, back in the 1800s. To me, this is a board that is built for today, a board for the future. Utilizing technology, you're able to access people around a table that you never could physically before. And not only that, but you're able to take the information of that board meeting and have it accessible out there on the World Wide Web. Tab Connect, tell me about that. Is that something they can access at any time?
Yes, we've offered in the last few years a portal which does three things. It's a place, a repository for their planning artifacts, if you will. I mentioned their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, their culture, their accountability chart, their vision, their plans are available to their employees, their management team, to go in and update and add to if they care to. Secondly, it's a repository for the board to share one another with their updates and anything that they want to share in terms of this morning, one of my members shared some work they're doing on building their vision, and he wanted the board's input on how they're doing that. And then thirdly, you mentioned Tab Connect, which is kind of like a LinkedIn just for Tab members without the advertising. It's just a safe place to reach out to people around the world who've already been vetted, and they're not competing with one another, but they're saying, nobody in Denver understands my business, but somebody in Cleveland or Bangkok might. So I want to reach out to them and take advantage of that.
So that component of networking really is taking place there. I mean, I think for the privately owned business to be able to access a board of directors that was only afforded to corporations, large organizations, I think that's really powerful because, let's face it, for a small business, there is no blueprint many times. Share with me the Business Builder Blueprint. What is that, and is that something they can learn more about their business?
Yes. Now they're going to be taken through the process. The first section of the portal that I mentioned is their SWOT, their culture, their values, and their plans, their visions. That's all part of what we call the Business Builder Blueprint, where we work with them to populate those things, update them periodically, and that becomes the blueprint that they share with their teams, and holding their teams accountable then to execute what they put in their plans.
An owner out there wants to get started with this. How do they begin? Does this begin with an assessment? Is there a diagnostic that takes place? Walk me through that a little bit, how they get started.
We typically start with a brief meeting like you and I are having, 15 or 20 minutes just to get to know one another. Decide if it makes sense to have another meeting where we'll do kind of a little deeper dive as to where their business is, where they'd like it to be, to determine if there's value in being part of TAB, where that value might be, and in our case, which facilitator or coach would be best for them, and is this even the right time? In my case, I offer potential members to attend a meeting just to observe it. And I tell them, you have an opportunity to vet us, but that board has an opportunity to vet you as well to see if it's a good fit.
Interesting.
Once they become members, there's so many tools that we have that we don't flood them. We pace it based on where they are. The diagnostic is one such tool that takes a look at about 15 different business functions or processes such as sales, marketing, legal, IT, employee development. And the member ranks them in terms of their relative importance. And then there are a series of questions and characterizations that indicate how well they're performing. And what we're looking for are those things that are important that have an opportunity to improve. If it's not broken, we don't want to fix it. And if it's not important, let's not worry about it. So the purpose of that is to focus in on a manageable number of items to improve, to align the management team, and to take a baseline that we can compare that with in future years.
That is interesting. I mean, the TAB organization itself, they've been around for 30 years in over 20 countries. 2005, Denver West is here to serve the people. You understand how important it is to have a keen ear and listen to the business owner. You're now providing them with a board, if you will, that can listen to them and give them some feedback. Does this continue to be rewarding for you?
Well, I can't tell you. It's I learn something every time I meet with either a board or individuals. So it's a growing opportunity for me. As I said, it's fairly fulfilling as a business owner, but it's more in the heart than the pocketbook to see people's lights come on and to see them actually implement ideas. Because we're more of a do tank than a think tank. And to see them come back and say, well, I improved my revenues threefold since I started working with TAB, or my earnings have increased, or since I got rid of that partner, life is good. I enjoy coming to work. So it's a peace of mind as well, and that's very fulfilling to me.
Excellent. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is their website. First of all, on the website, take a look at this organization. Like we said, they're in 20 countries. They have helped hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of private business owners out there. Basically, as a business owner, you do not have to be an island. You don't have to be alone. You can really take advantage of a board that can listen to you and help you through the challenges that we obviously know you go through pretty much every day. Check out their website. You're going to see more what the members have to say. They have many case studies there. Once again, that is TAB right here in Denver West, the Alternative Board, really transforming your business asset so that you can enjoy life. This is Gary Atencia with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.